Yes, yo, hello guys. Right, had this discussion the other day with a lovely young girl, and it made me think a little bit about this issue, which I'm going to call universal technique. She'd sent me a few videos, and frankly, they were very good. Great singer, and what I noticed and what made me think was that she was mimicking three singers basically, and it just so happened that those three singers had different levels of ability basically with their technique, and she was mimicking them to the point where when she mimicked one singer, she had better technique than when she was mimicking another singer. And it got me thinking, like, why would that be? And I was thinking, the thing is, as singers, and this is really what I believe when we're talking about this problem is we tend to mimic sometimes too much. We tend to mimic everything. We tend to drag everything and every part of a singer into what we're doing and mimic it, which can have its goods and its bads. But what I'm trying to do as I'm learning to sing is I'm trying to look broadly. I'm trying to zoom out and listen to let's say 20 different singers who are my favourite singers, whatever your favourite singers are. I'm trying to think very broadly, like, what are the things that universally that they all do, every single one of them, that I can mimic? And then what are the things that individually they do that I don't necessarily want to mimic and copy? Because some singers do have some technical issues that they might stylistically sound good, but they can lead you to some trouble further down the road. They can maybe make your technique less dependable, less consistent day to day. But if we can kind of pick away at the surface level of what's going on, when we're talking about style and these kind of stylistic choices we make, if we can pick away at that and get deeper down and think about, what does Adele have in common with Whitney Houston? What does Jeff Buckley have in common with Tom York? These kinds of common questions where we're thinking underneath the style, what is a commonality that links these different singers? What are they universally doing that when we listen to them, we switch on? That's typically what happens. And also, conversely, what are the universal things that we listen out for when, we think there's something not right there, there's something off? We all know when we hear a bad singer or a singer we don't like. The question is, again, universally, broadly speaking, what are the factors, what are the technical things that people do that make it sound off, make it sound not right? Those things are, broadly speaking, what I talk about, and I don't know how many times I'm going to say broadly in this video, but when we zoom out, that's what I'm trying to do with this channel. Those are the things that I want to get deep down and dig out for you guys. Those kind of nuggets where we're talking about, what do all these guys do that's good? What do all these guys do that's not going to work for them? When we talk about consistent airflow through a phrase, or consistent compression through a phrase, like, what does that mean? Why is it that you almost universally all the singers we like do that? Why is it that almost all the singers we like, generally speaking, have a pretty efficient sound? So there's not much clutter in the voice. There's not much strain, especially the ones that are kind of iconic and known as great singers. I'm not really sure if I needed to do that there, but I did it. So there we go. These universal commonalities we're trying to dig out. If you can get down to the brass tacks, to these, to universal singing, to these factors that will determine whether or not you're going to sound good on a basic level or not so good, you can start to kind of sift through singers at that point. You can start to listen to singers more objectively, because you can start to hear the layers, yeah? You can start to hear, is that foundation wobbly for them? Is there something kind of off on their basic skill set? Or you can hear man, I don't like that style, but God, is he a great singer? God, is that technique amazing? You know, ask yourself, have you ever said that to yourself or to others? Numerous times I'll say, man, they've got great technique, but I'm not really a massive fan of their style. Or I'll say, yeah, stylistically they're kind of cool, but you know, they've got a lot of issues with their technique. So, for example, Freddie Mercury, great style, some good technique, some great technique, some real technical problems there. Suffered with nodules his whole life. I've got the ability, his whole life, like most of his career, shall we say. I've got the ability to say that because I'm able to separate the good and the bad. I'm able to separate the levels of what he was doing. So whilst he had some good fundamentals, there was fundamental flaws as well. Conversely, though, I liked his style a lot. His guts, his like emotion, his like aggressiveness as a singer. You know, so it's always it's always this kind of give and take mentality where we're trying to, like I say, sift through the different factors in what a singer's doing, and we're able to begin to start asking ourselves these kinds of questions. Is the part of their singing that I dislike a stylistic issue, or is it a technical issue? Is the part of their singing that I love, is it a technical thing that they're doing, or is it a stylistic thing that they're doing? Is it something more on the surface? Is the technical thing that they're doing that I like something that might hurt me over time? These kinds of things. Jimmy Necco, one of my favourite singers, technical freak in some ways, but some of the choices he's made technically and stylistically, may start to hurt him down the road. Jeff Buckley was one of those as well. Whereas Tom York, I never get that impression so much. Yeah, he bends the rules some, but he's never flying as close to the sun, shall we say, as Jeff or Jimmy did and do, shall we say. So kind of just moving back to the premise of this video, like universal technique. It's this concept, I mean, I've just created this term just yesterday, really, but it's this concept that if we listen to a lot of singers that we like, we're challenging ourselves to think deeply and think, what are they all doing? What are things that they all do? Skills that they're all good at, that I can draw from, and then also think, what are the stylistic choices that some of them might be making individually that I want to draw from? Understanding the difference between the two, and understanding that those fundamentals, that bedrock of skills that you're developing, that universal technique, shouldn't be fiddled with too much. Yeah, you're looking for something very consistent and solid and concrete, something that you can depend on day in, day out, very consistent, very methodical, very by the book almost, very repeatable. Conversely, style can be adjusted, it can be changed, it can be fiddled with endlessly. Also, stylistically, some people are going to like it, some people aren't, especially if you're off center some. So those are not other issues you start to deal with. But if you can take criticism, and this is just to finish up here, another way it helps is that when you start reading criticism of your singing, you can start to pigeonhole that into, well, they're talking about stylistic choices I'm making, so I'm going to disregard that because it's not, style is my choice. I choose to sing that way stylistically. If they're addressing your fundamentals, that might be a different discussion. But if you're confident in your fundamentals, if you're confident that those universal skills are solid and strong, it gives you a lot of confidence as a singer, because what you'll find is average singers and average people will constantly criticize stylistic choices and will almost hardly ever reference the bass technique that a singer's using, because they don't understand it, they can't see it, they see everything as this big jumble of style and technique. They aren't able to separate them out clearly. And that's the gift that you have, is that you're able to take it on the chin and see it for what it is a lot more easily and not take it personally, yeah? So work at the bedrock and let other people worry about the frills and the icing on the cake. And that's really it for this video, guys. Have a good one, yeah? See you soon. Bye. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you want my help personally, you can book a one-on-one training session. Drop me a message. My email is in the description. And if you feel like this message was of value, then please feel free to make a donation equal to that value. Again, donation link is in the description. And finally, please share this video with other singers you know. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you in another video. Bye.